Greetings, Jivans. Questions are many, almost all the time, during my personal consultations, or during the live, or during whatever I share in this platform here. Questions are many about how to achieve this, how to achieve that, how to attain this, how to attain that. When do I reach this? Where have I reached? How long will it take? When will things happen for me? When will this be created for me? When can I achieve that state of mind? Or when can I achieve this state of consciousness? We must understand that all these are the games of the mind itself. Going somewhere, attaining something, reaching somewhere, gaining something, losing something. This is all the give and take that is going on in the mind. When the mind is directly in play with the play of illusion, what we call as Maya. Now, I don't want to get too much into Maya stuff because it's very easy to talk about it, but then to actually, when you are in that situation, you can say that, oh, it's also real and it's so tangible. How can you just say this is all illusion? No, I'm not saying from that point of view. You need not go into that kind of a philosophy, but what I'm trying to say is if you still your mind, if you still the organ, or if you still the tool, the very thing that creates all these ruckus in your mind, the vrittis. Mind is responsible for being a platform for all the vrittis that arise in your mind, from where all the questions come, from where all the doubts come. That part, if you can still, you'll see that everything just drops. Now, shifting into awareness, this platform is exclusively only for people who have ran around a lot their whole life, did this and did that, tried this and tried that, and finally settle down. When you settle down, after understanding the futility of all this play and the acts and the actions and the things that we have done, then only you can simmer down. And when you still down, you'll see that, oh my God, it's here. It's like the butterfly. The more you chase the butterfly, the more it will fly out of your hand and never it will come in contact with you. And when you run and run around that butterfly and finally you sit down in one corner, tired, the butterfly comes and sits on your shoulders. It comes and sits on your shoulders. And then you say, oh wow, here it is. Then at that moment, if you just calm yourself and become aware and see what was the running all about, you'll understand what I mean. So this is not applicable to everybody because this platform of stilling your mind, being centered in yourself, becoming aware of yourself, knowing who you are, the real self, that is beyond all these kind of things. It is beyond all the koshas and the chakras and all that stuff. Chakras come in your etheric body. The I and me and mine comes in your physical body. The physical attachments and all what you have. The indriyas, panchindriyas operate through this physical body. The whole mind is again a mental body. These are all bodies, subtle bodies. What I am talking about and what all the great mystics have talked about is none of these. The more you put your attention on this, the more you will need to enhance this. Enhancing this means what? Enhancing your bodies means what? Enhancing the ego consciousness. Body and mind itself is the ego consciousness. It is that which separates the real you, the self. So what is preventing you from knowing yourself? These layers that are full of so many things. All these layers have their own individuality. The body has its own identifications and limitations. The etheric body, the prana sharira, has its own identification and limitations. The mind body has its own limitations. The wisdom sheath or the Jnanamaya kosha or the Jnana Sharira has its own limitations and functions and identifications. These all bond you externally with the external stuff. The more your consciousness is on these things, the more you will need to do something. These all doing comes from one of the gunas, the rajasic guna. Settling down, stilling down is sattvic guna. Effortlessness is sattvic guna. And from there, through that effortlessness, when you go into complete stillness and enter into that zone which does nothing, which knows nothing, which is just pure awareness, that is nirguna, beyond the three gunas. My Gurudev, my master, used to always say, tamasic gunas can be anyhow cleansed, all the lower, very ugly lower gunas, the grossest, they can be still cleansed, he says. And achieving sattva guna also is fine. But rajasic guna, it takes something to get out of. It's not an easy thing. So you can understand what it means, because rajasic guna is the ego consciousness. The ego which says, I am doing this, I am doing that, I am supposed to do this, I have to do this to get somewhere. And then to validate that, I do all sort of things to validate that, including my connection to divine beings or gods, invoking their powers and getting things done. It is all in the rajasic only. It's a lot of doership is needed. Intensity, intense kind of methods that is done. The more intense, the more rajasic. Because more the desire to transcend something, to conquer something. It is more than transcending, it is conquering. I have ego, let me conquer it. I have lust, let me conquer it. I have fear, let me conquer it. I have this avguna, that avguna. Let me conquer it. Let me conquer my tamo guna. Let me conquer my rajoguna. How can the rajoguna be conquered by rajoguna itself? Because when you wake up with that aham and says, I have to do this, I have to finish this, you cannot finish. Ego will never kill itself. It's suicide for ego. How will the mind find itself? I was just reading this para, which Bhagavan Ramana says. Let's read it. How to check the mind is the question. Ramana says, will a thief hand over a thief? Will the mind find itself? The mind cannot seek the mind. You have ignored what is real and are holding on to the mind which is unreal and also using it to try to find what it is. All the techniques and methods are that. Without the mind, remember one thing, no technique, no method can work. All the method, the platforms begin in your mind, where you imagine, visualize, do this, do that, everything is going on in the mind. And what? To annihilate the mind. That's what it says here. And then he says, was there mind in your sleep? It was not. It is now here. It is therefore impermanent. Can the mind be found by you? Mind is not you, first of all. You think you are the mind and therefore you ask me how it is to be checked. If it is there, it can be checked, but it is not. Understand this truth by search. This is what he calls self-inquiry. The search of unreality is useless. Therefore, seek the reality. That is the self. That is the way to rule over the mind. There is only one thing real. The others are only appearances. The self is only real, which is existent. Mind exists now, it is not there next moment. It changes its forms all the time. It's fickle-minded. One time it will give you one idea, the other time it will give you some idea. Sometime you will feel I am the doer, sometime you will feel I don't need to be to the all the mind game again, which is transient, not real. Diversity is not its nature. We are reading the printed characters on paper, but ignore the paper, which is the background. Similarly, you are taken up by the manifestations of the mind and do not hold the background. Whose fault is it? The essence of the mind is only awareness or consciousness, he says. When the ego, however, dominates it, it functions as reasoning, thinking, and sensing faculty. The cosmic mind, being not limited by the ego, has nothing separate from itself and therefore is only aware. This is what the Bible means by saying, I am that I am. So, this will not be understood by everybody, especially if there is a lot of rajasic guna in the doer tendency, because then the doership will come even in understanding this. How do I understand? How do I put this understanding into practice? I have learned a new thing. Now how do I put it into practice? What should I do to put this into rajasic quality? But somebody who has transcended all this and finished off the, enough, come to a stage where they are now ready to settle down. And they contemplate on this. They will understand the whole game. There is no talk about this. It cannot be talked. I am just making this video for those who are just in the transition period. From this doership to non-doership. Many I can see, many are settling down and understanding and even realizing. When we are talking about it, you realize that eternal peace, that stillness is coming. And you can see that stillness is coming without doing all. There is one way where you can do a lot of things and still. You do rigorous body activity, I'm telling you. Rigorously you tense your body, like you jump, you hawk, you dance. There are so many dance meditations and all. There are so many yoga meditations where you actually jump around and all that and make your body so tense and so tired that when you stop at that moment, that tiredness takes you into that zone which brings you that peace and calm. Many people love jumping because the mind is always jumping. They can't stop. So they love jumping and then putting that mind, exhausting their mind so much, tiring their mind to such an extent that it drops dead. You must have seen the soldiers I see here often. They are trained in such a way that they just have to sit down to fall asleep, deep into sleep. And that is peace, eternal peace for them. No money can buy that kind of sleep. But what has been done? What is the cost for that? All this exhaustion and exertion. So there is one way to achieve God by jumping around. The other way is to just understand the secret of where all these processes are working and moving towards. Once you understand the process, you'll know that I need not jump with my mind. My mind is jumping and making me jump. So I need not become a slave to this mind and jump along with it. And then tire itself, the physical body and the mind body, so much that I get peace. That's the most foolish way to do it. But when I understand and see my mind is jumping and I know how to directly still that mind, then I don't need all these kind of exertions. All this doership is not needed because now you know the secret. You know the vrittis are rising and you know the chanchalta, you know the fickle-mindedness and you know how to still it. And what's the way? I'm talking authentically. I'm saying when you enter into awareness, when you are aware of who you are moving away from all these bodies and all the things that happen in this body. You are just leaving them alone for some time. You are not living in it. Your consciousness is no more in these bodies. The 4 bodies. You enter into the 5th body, the Ananda Sharir, the bliss body. You enter into that, the soul space, and you become aware. Who's that you? You, the soul only, becomes aware of itself. That's all. Why you are not able to become aware of yourself? Because of these all layers, which is full of activity. And it will keep you active. And it will make you believe, mind you, it will make you believe that to do something, to get somewhere, I have to do and do and do and do. If you are in that mode, Anybody will make you do and do a lot of things while they get things done for themselves also. You understand the secret? You will go straight to the source without wasting your time in all these things. So as I said, this video is not for all, nor are what I talk here in live or shifting into awareness platform. It is not for all. It will not be understood easily because we want to be doing something. That's good. It is only meant for people who have now learned, finally understood, including me. That's me also. After doing everything all my life, I have understood. It's everything, the secret is in non-doing. And you can see the differences. You can see the changes. I'm not just boasting about something. I know what's happening to me, inside me, outside me. And if that is being revealed to you in some way, I don't want to proclaim, I'm here, I'm doing that, nothing. But if you can see it, if you can sense it, and if you can realize it all these years, those who have been seeing, you'll know what I'm talking about, whether it's authentic or not. So this is for those people who are a little confused. What is to be done and what is not to be done? Drop both these ideas. To be done and not to be done. Just be in awareness. When you enter that stillness and awareness, you'll see a lot of things happening. That is what I read the post today from Ashtavakra Gita also. You can look it on my Jake Light profile. You just go and see it there. That I'll try my best to explain that in the next coming Sunday. And as every Sunday, we are all sitting together. You all experience it. It's not me who's doing nothing. We are just triggering those aspects within us, our awareness. The moment we become conscious of ourselves, the awareness becomes, we become aware of ourselves. The awareness becomes conscious of itself. You see what happens. You're able to sit for 4 or 5 hours in stillness. Completely. With that non-doing only, you are able to experience. Nobody is giving you that experience. You are entitled to do that because you have understood it by stilling and you are ready to still yourself. When you are stilling yourself, that is happening to you. That's all that's happening. That's phenomena. That's a phenomena that's happening. No third party can give it to you. This is because I found it and I realized it. That is why I share these gifts. That anybody can do it. So from the Ashtavakra Gita also, it's very clear. That whole passage is very clear there. What Ashtavakra is trying to teach. And it's about the same stillness. It's not in the doing. It's absolutely not in the doing. It's in the non-doing. And it's very, very effortless. So I'll see you on Sunday for that. But this video, I made it for a couple of you. Just a handful of you who have this kind of a confusion. Especially the new ones. There are many new people who are joining here who are not on any path or religion or anything, and they're curious to know how this is, and we are discussing that as shifting into awareness now as 80% or more people who are very new and open to these kind of practices of the self and stillness and calmness and effortlessness and beyond the mind, who are ready to go beyond the mind, who are more soul conscious. So I'm sure you'll be glad and you'll enjoy it. I just need this kind of population, that's all, who can relate to what this is. This is not for proclaiming or bringing or converting people here and there. Because there is no need in conversion. One day or the other, this will be realized. Some realize in 1 or 2 runabouts. Some takes a few more janmas. Some takes a few more thrashings from life and to understand simple aspects. But finally, everybody has to come, because I'm telling you, any process any path you follow in this world, any path, if that path cannot still your mind and bring you that calmness, by which you can enter into samadhi and go into turiya and remain and observe and experience yourself, then nothing is of any use. Your ultimate purpose should be that. Of course, there are many methods where you get instant gratifications and you manifest things, and it's all worldly stuff. I don't want to talk about it. You want energy, you want health, you want wealth, you want power, you want success, you want this and that and all those things. Yes, it can give you all that. But these points are not pointing towards that. It is when you are ready to go beyond all these gains. And when you say, I am now ready. I've had enough and this is never ending. I want to go beyond this, transcend beyond this. Then only your consciousness will compose into these kind of truths. So with much love and light to you, stay blessed. May we all evolve